What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. The remote duel YCS was a blast, and there is a bit of a shakeup on the market from it. We see so many different decks competing and taking a slice of Top Cut, or almost even getting there, and so many good names, both in Top Cut and right on the bubble. It was crazy. Shoutouts to Blade. He did a discussion with me yesterday on the format. He topped with Drytron and is in the top 16, but even with that, people are going and grabbing a piece for themselves, and the most notable might be Virtual World. We see Lulu back up towards $18 with actual sales around there, starting to settle with competition a bit. I do have a word of warning. If you're knee-jerk reaction, you're like, I gotta play Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the best OTS pack ever. I gotta go get my piece. The Megatons are creeping up faster than you might think. It is now mid-July, then we're going to head into August, September, and the tins are already there in just 2 months' time. So you do have a limited amount of time, and Phantom Rage was the last set tacked on to the Megatons, meaning Tri-Brigade, the Virtual World, probably Zeus, yep, are going to get focused within the tins for reprint slots. So be aware of that as we head forward, and thinking about the other sets and decks you might be picking up versus the amount of time you have to play them, because time is also money, and with one of the best OTS packs of all time there. Also, Cyber Dragon's topping was also exciting in the hands of a YouTuber. We see it rebounding. It was sub 200 for one of the first times, and it kind of spiked back. You can even see those sweet sales. I was like, yes, finally, maybe it'll head towards 175, 150, but there's so many people waiting at each different range, and with some hype from Cyber Dragon's topping on the I told you so spectrum from my conversation on this format, well, yeah, people went for them. And you do see Italian copies and other cheap ones available. Hey, Near Mint Unlimited, is that one still under? We do have a low-rated seller, but it does look pretty minty fresh if you're willing to take a gamble on those new sellers here and there. But hey, Cyber Dragon has been falling, has a spike here. It may fall again, or it may get refocused as people draw that line in the sand and go 175 I'm in, 150 I'm in. There will definitely be these barriers to it going down. Also within the metagame, DD Crow seems to have really taken shape over Cycle Reader, as there's more decks for Crow to end up against, like Sky Striker, for example. 4 of them did top the North America YCS, and then one is still in the top 16. But look at this, every single version is $2+ despite how many versions. This was a bit of an interesting conversation in the Discord as we started to kind of break it down. Well, a lot of the lower rarity versions happen to be tournament packs. We have a Turbo Pack common, a Champion Pack common, or rare, my bad, and then we also, no, it is a common, and then we have the common out of OTS pack. The rest of them are hollows from like $30 MSRP side sets, like the Legendary Collections, or you have the Ultra out of Dual Devastator, which is $40, then the DT Machine one, which does look pretty nice even for a Shatterfoil. I usually don't like Shatterfoil, and then you have a Speed Dual Holofoil. I actually don't even know what set this is, if I'm honest. And the Starlight Rare has very few listings, but investigative journalist John Moore here, we did see that these actually got pulled instead of sold out on ban list day. There actually haven't been any huge, crazy, eye-popping number sales. Ban list day, a couple sold and then people pulled theirs off the market, and now we see this new listing price of $425, $440, towards $500 quickly, but there aren't really sales around there leading up to it getting to that price. So do keep that in mind. Ban list day, these kind of disappeared without a sales rate appearing on them. Cycle Reader has been a lot of money for some time. Drytron felt like the deck to beat coming in, and it still was highly represented. And speaking of Drytron, it's only got cheaper over time, and it feels like it's because of that specific play style, and sometimes deck building sets have that. Sometimes the deck is mass appealed, you gotta play this deck like Necros, but with Drytron, I feel like it goes towards a specific kind of person wanting to build X board or play certain ways, and not everybody wants to be a Drytron duelist, and a lot of people who have Drytron already got it, and the new support for it is pretty darn expensive with the Viner of Heralds, but now at a pretty much all-time low, near $60, as a lot of attention has gone away from Lightning Overdrive to King's Court, and then the meta and other things happening. It's really bottomed out in price. So if you're looking around, there's a couple suggestions. Live Twins have new support in the OCG. I might think about picking them up at this point because they keep on getting brand new support over time, and some of it's starting to look pretty darn good. Also, you have the collector rares versions. I know those are more expensive, but they'll probably hold value better if there are ever reprints on the live twin cards. Of course, you can use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra. Support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying if you're in the market to end up getting collector rares or regular versions. But both of them, they're pretty good pricing for both the collector rare and the ultra still on the market right now, as it's not the most attention focused, but also a set that was heavily under open, and even if they tick up a bit, probably won't suddenly get mass opened for what they are. Man, Genesis Impact just feels so weird over time. Destiny Heroes got new support, and with that, Malicious was one of the main focuses of a buyout. The first edition original ultra is almost as expensive as back in the day. We used to pay $60 for these in its meta days. Well, now the lowest are $50, and the actual sales are going for about there. Yes, there are other past formats you can play along with current formats looking for Malicious, but man, there are so many other nice versions, with the secret rare looking pretty creamy. You have another version of super rares all over the place, even another ultra within the legendary hero decks, but it just doesn't hit the same for us boomer duelists. So many nice versions of this at reasonable prices. You don't have to get first ed ultra original unless maybe you're a Yugi boomer who can't go anywhere else. And on Hero Check, Darklaw actually has sales for ridiculous amounts, $569, not so nice dollars. And you do see people now listing just under that, hoping to match that sale, and people listing around it. So yeah, people finally getting desperate, saying, I need it, and going for it. And I do not pity anybody in the market for this card. Just look at that spike in terms of the sales. It's so, Utopia has a ton of new support on the horizon. We do have Kaiser still up in price, $20 lowest about. And then I didn't know this, when number C39 has stuck on its buyout, despite more listings here. The super rare is still towards 20, and then you're like, oh, the ulti's cheaper, why not go? Oh, no. It's around $43, $44. It got focused too. I'm not sure how actually usable this is. Utopia players, let me know. Does it get some power up with some rank up magic? Is this really a focus? Because you do have the Armades effect and then the ability to climb over pretty much anything. But like, is this really a focus of where you're going with your rank ups? Do you rank up on top of it into something? Where do you go with this? Let me know. Or is it just because it's only had those printings? Rhoda suddenly got a lot of attention from the collector rare being in King's Court. How can we not talk about King's Court on a Market Watch? I saved it till the end this time though. And we do see that it's ridiculously up in price, with Light Plays actually selling. What did you do on this buyout? Please stop it. And we see one near mint, or two near mint unlimbs around 100 before it's back up there. Please stop buying cards like this, guys. Now then, the interesting conversation to continue is that the secret rares do seem like they are modern misprints, and one of the biggest misprints of all time. We still have not seen a foreign copy, an Italian, French, or German for the secret rare. I'm going to emphasize this because a ton of comments keep saying, oh, this YouTuber pulled it in French, and they keep showing me the Ultra Millennium Rare. We're looking specifically for the secret in other languages, and we have seen very, very few out of the EU, but it does exist. Tier 0 had told me they asked somebody else who did case openings. They opened 20. They pulled only 2, though, so it's not like where you start opening a case and all the cases seem to be secret rare, like this factory sheet error or something. Instead, it's like just a couple happened to pop up for this guy in the EU. So we haven't seen too many reports of them over there, and in the US it's way more common. So my thoughts are this: if it truly is the modern example of the mass misprint of Elemental Hero Chaos Neos, people now know this story and they know like how the future could go. But it's also really weird to see it out the gate ahead of something like the legacy of the GBI, Slifer, Obelisk, and Raw Divine Beasts. There is a difference though. These are not playable copies and versions. That matters to a little degree with these, but it still has backing when people go into their collectibles like, oh yes, this could actually be used even though I'm going to put it behind this PSA slab. And being a quote-unquote misprint, potentially a lot of focus is going into that also with that word being thrown around. We still have to wait to see if Konami says anything, but more and more every day it seems like it's not on purpose when it doesn't appear in other languages and other sets. So we'll continue to keep our eye out, ear out, but at this point, probably would have seen it, right? Now, the rest of the set is cooling down exceptionally. Utopia Collector Rare down even further. I think this is an inevitable spike if we look forward towards all this Utopia support being released. As people go for the Astral, this will be second rarity, and then it'll probably follow. But the Astral has a much brighter future with other Astral cards being printed too, right? And then you see the Ultras calming down. Original pre-sales around 200, then sales rates at 180. You see the market prices down around the 150 for the Ultras, as the secrets have become a lot more focused, talked about the big wins. I've even seen people pull 2 secrets out of one case, but also 2 Ultras out of one case. That happens even with Starlight Rares, but it seems to be happening way more often than I would, think with Starlights being 2 in a case. I usually only hear like 4 or 5 people do the 2 Starlights, 1 case per set whenever people are showing me their polls or talking about this. But with this, I've seen a ton of people go for it. And it almost leads me to think with Rage of Raw, how the Ghost Rare Raw was missing in about 1 out of every 10 cases on mass pulls. It was like 9 out of 10 cases do have the Ghost Rare. Maybe they overcompensated and went, okay, we're going to make sure an extra one appears every 10 cases or something like that. There's just been a lot of people pulling 2 per case, when by a lot I mean like probably 1 out of every 10 cases almost seems to be sounding like that story. The rest of the set, though, like I said, has been falling out nicely. We see Lightning Storm still around that $40-$45 mark, the top Ultra of the set. If there is a Megaton print of this, it'll probably drag it down. Hopefully it gets the Pot of Extravagance treatment. I say that even biasly, as I'm in for King's Court. Like, I hope it gets another reprint in Prismatic Secret Rare. We also see number FZero Falling. Remember, this was not legal for the YCS, and Phantom Knights topped without this, so it'll be interesting to see the future of Phantom Knights as people bring up that build and we see it. And then people also focus the poker cards a little, and you can see lower quantities. People were asking me, should they get it, shouldn't they get it? And the realistic answer is, weekend 1 you'll see attempted buyouts on this, on like just stuff that doesn't even necessarily have that collectability factor. Like Toons, far more collectible than this. Is this still a DM era friendly reminder retrain? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Heck, Joker Straight looks amazing on the art, but the collector rares are realistically where people should focus this buyout money if they're gonna try something like this. Like, when you're trying to do this, like, I don't think it's gonna work out very well for you long term unless you're just trying to invest right now, and then you could have waited for it to sink lower and then slowly grabbed your copies. That's how I like to approach things to get massive piles of cards. Just slowly trade for your copies. There's never a need for that kind of rush. Ultra Dolka at $1 is beautiful. You only pull 3.6 per these per case, but man, this is so wide open, and it feels good to see that price on this early. So, if you want anything on the lower end of, I was about to say Toon Chaos, but if you want anything on the lower end of King's Court, now would probably be the best time to do so. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversation, and I am super happy with how that YCS turned out and how pretty much the market's evening out as we head towards the Megatons. I'm excited to watch that too. Konami, don't make the 10s job the Gold Series and Brothers of Legend. Just make them strong. And dude, that reprint was so good. Let's do it again. A lot of cards could actually use it in this case since we didn't have special editions for Rise of the Duelist Eternity Code. Took those away. Just make the 10s a banger and do double reprints where needed. We could actually use that this time.